Tonight on the Northwestern News Report.
Syria, Syria will be free!
Chicagoans take to the streets in an effort to support Syrian civilians.
Northwestern students camp out for a cure.
And the club baseball team finally gets a home field advantage.
All those stories and more.
Coming up on the Northwestern News Report. It's your news right now.
Good evening and welcome to the Northwestern News Report. I'm Eric Miller.
And I'm Isabel Lawrence. Thanks for joining us. For many residents in the Chicagoland area, recent airstrikes on civilians in Syria are not only cause for concern, they're motivation for action. NNN's Carlin McCarthy joins us live in the studio to explain why. Carlin.
Thanks, Isabel. Last weekend, protesters took to Daley Plaza in the streets of downtown Chicago to speak out against a recent rash of bombings on the Syrian city of Aleppo. I went to the protest to learn more. Armed with signs, songs, and speakers, protesters came together to raise awareness about the violence Syrian civilians face every day. Over the last week and a half, President Bashar al-Assad's regime and the Russian Air Force have been bombing the rebel-held eastern side of the Syrian city of Aleppo. Protester Jim Kubik came to speak out against the actions of Assad and Russia. He said the bombings need to end and protections for Syrians should be put in place.
People want the violence to stop. It's really that simple, and I think that common thread links us all.
On February 27th, the United States and the United Nations announced a, quote, cessation of hostilities. However, the regime and Syrian rebels say neither side has upheld the ceasefire. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, since April 22nd, there have been 250 casualties in Aleppo, with 40 children among the dead. Last week, a bombing at a hospital in Aleppo killed at least 50 civilians, including 6 medical staff and a number of children. It was one of the most devastating recent attacks by the Assad regime. This past weekend, citizens across the globe took part in worldwide protests in solidarity with the people of Aleppo. Zina Dadouche, a Syrian resident of DeKalb, drove 1.5 hours to Chicago for the protest. She said it was the best way for her to make a difference.
I'm a student, I'm broke, I can't donate thousands of dollars, and so all I can do is raise awareness about it. It's my duty as a Syrian and as just a human being to just come out and raise awareness about it.
David Turpentine Jr., one of the organizers for Chicago's event and a member of the anti-war committee in solidarity with the struggle for self-determination, said the protest was not only about Syria, but also about the unwillingness of the United States to take action against war crimes.
I'm profoundly disturbed by how terrible a political orientation most of the anti-war opposition in this country has taken. It's decided that we just can't have an opinion upon war crimes.
Midway through the protest, participants joined marchers in Chicago's May Day March, a rally for the rights of immigrants and workers. Both groups joined together outside the Trump Tower, united in their mission to protect human rights. The protest moved some to tears and others to cheers. Although this weekend's protest is over, participants say they are hopeful for the future.
I think that Chicago is a diverse city, and I think it has a lot in common with Syria in that way. There's a lot of faiths, there's a lot of communities that are right next to one another. Being a Chicagoan and seeing how we can be successful here in that, I believe that in Syria it could be the same way.
The protesters say they want the airstrikes and targeting of hospitals to end, along with the institution of no-fly zones in Syria. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is due to hold urgent talks on the situation this week. He said a top priority is ending the violence in Aleppo. Back to you.
The state of Illinois has stopped providing full scholarships for students under its Monetary Assistance Program, also known as MAP, which is designed to help Illinois students afford higher ed institutions. Instead, the state will only cover 1/3 of the grants for Northwestern MAP scholars. After Governor Bruce Rauner vetoed a bill to fund the MAP grant program for this academic year, the state decided last week to partially fund the program instead. The scholarships are awarded to low and middle income Illinois students who attend colleges within the state. MAP scholars at Northwestern receive around $2.4 million a year. University spokesman Al Cubbage said Northwestern will still provide the remainder of the scholarships not covered by the state.
We are hoping that at some point that will actually come to the university, but what we've told the students is that if it doesn't, Northwestern will just provide you additional scholarships.
Cubbage said the university is committed to making sure the state's decision does not keep admitted students from attending.
A Northwestern student sparked conversation about responding to sexual assault last week, bringing a serious issue to campus attention with a unique protest. A young woman at the university sat in a box reading, quote, "I was raped on campus," in various public spots at Northwestern last Tuesday. The student was allegedly sexually assaulted fall quarter and filed a Title IX complaint with the university. Title IX complaints are not confidential and mandate investigation into the reported issue. Prior sexual history does not affect these investigations and is considered irrelevant. Members of the Northwestern community who file a Title IX complaint may request protective measures or accommodations during or after the investigation, such as schedule adjustment, no contact orders, and other forms of support. The student in this case says no action has been taken on the basis of her complaint. She's legally unable to comment as her trial approaches in the coming week, but we will keep you updated as the story develops. If you or someone you know needs to file a Title IX complaint, please contact the Northwestern Title IX office for further assistance.
In light of the recent laws surrounding transgender rights, Illinois state legislatures are debating a bill that would regulate the use of public bathrooms. NNN's Margaret Korn has more.
As transgender rights gain more attention, lawmakers are working to determine how to legislate them. Illinois lawmakers are focusing in on boundaries in private spaces such as bathrooms, which have historically been separated by biological sex. This latest Illinois bill would require students to use the bathroom corresponding to their legal gender. Tom Morrison, the Republican state representative from Palatine, introduced the bill because he says minors are not yet mature enough to navigate this issue.
There's a host of things that we don't allow minors to do because they have not reached adequate maturity to understand the consequences of their actions.
Morrison says the schools would be able to provide single-gender spaces for students uncomfortable with the terms of the bill, but that schools have a responsibility to all of their students.
This is a way of compromising so that everybody can get the privacy that they deserve.
The bill was created in response to a 2014 Title IX order that mandated that public schools treat students in accordance with their gender identity. Opponents of the bill focus on the emotional and psychological repercussions of separating private spaces and schools this way. Mark Munzer, Evanston's Director of Community Engagement and LGBT Liaison, says the law should protect transgender students' rights as well.
This is how they identify, and to make them go into the space that they don't identify with, I believe would be far more uncomfortable.
Evanston passed an ordinance in 2014 that mandates that residents may use the bathrooms that correspond to their gender identity. Should Morrison's bill pass, there would not be many physical changes to Evanston schools, but transgender students would no longer be able to use the spaces in accordance with their gender identity. Margaret Korn, Northwestern News Report.
Evanston officials say they are not concerned about potential changes to Evanston schools because they do not believe the bill will pass.
When we come back, we'll tell you which department is taking a more active role in working towards gender equality.
I'm Kara Stevick, and coming up, I'll have your 5-day weather forecast.
At Northwestern, we're wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Why hang around waiting for opportunity to knock when instead you can track opportunity down and knock on its door? You might ask, what's the best way to identify where opportunity lives? Here's a hint. Its door is colored purple. Northwestern University. Opportunity awaits your knock.
Why spend your entire life looking for some on-ramp to the road to opportunity when there's already a well-traveled path? So you may be wondering, what does that path look like? Is it paved with gold? Well, here's a hint. It's actually paved with purple. Northwestern University. Your road starts here.
Good evening, and here's your 5-day weather forecast on this sunny Tuesday. Looking toward tomorrow, you could expect light afternoon showers with a high of 58 degrees and a low of 44. But don't fret, as the sun is expected to return on Thursday with a high of 58 and a low of 46 degrees. And it looks like spring has finally sprung, as this weather will continue into Friday with a high of 57 degrees and a low of 47. Finally, you might want to consider breaking out your swimwear this weekend, as temperatures will rise even further with a high of 66 and a low of 51 on Saturday, and a high of 70 and a low of 52 degrees on Sunday. Be sure to go out and enjoy the sunny skies this weekend. This has been Kara Stevick with your 5-day weather forecast.
It was announced Sunday that rapper Schoolboy Q will be headlining this year's Dillo Day, Northwestern's all-day concert festival organized by student-led programming group Mayfest. Alyssa O'Neill, Mayfest co-director of promotions, said the group does not believe there's ever a perfect headliner, but Schoolboy Q will appeal to a very broad audience. She says he is easily recognizable not only from his own work, but from other artists' work as well, and brings a lot to the experience as a whole. Schoolboy Q joins Anderson .Paak and the Free Nationals in the lineup for Dillo Day on May 21st. More performers will be announced as the festival gets closer.
And we wanted to know what you think of this year's headliner. We asked you about it in this week's edition of Rock Talk.
So do you know who Schoolboy Q is?
I do. I know of the name, but I haven't listened to any of his music.
Do you know who Schoolboy Q is?
Yes.
What songs do you know by him?
I really like Collard Greens.
Oh shoot. He got the Collard Greens song, and he's on a feature with ASAP called Brand New Guy.
So you couldn't name one song?
Not at all.
Who else would you rather see at Dillo Day?
I mean, I think Beyonce is like a go-to right now. I guess someone, I don't know, like more in like the rock or pop genre. That's more my style.
Honestly, I wouldn't even be mad if we made it a Northwestern thing to have chants every year.
All right, so there you have it. Some people know who Schoolboy Q is, some people don't, some people want him to be here, and some would like to see others. So let us know what you think. Tweet me at BriaCalpin22 on Twitter, and let me know who you'd like to see at Dillo Day.
If you have an idea for a future Rock Talk topic, tweet at us at NNN_news.
Schoolboy Q was not the only big announcement on campus. McCormick's School of Engineering's Department of Material Sciences and Engineering announced a new initiative last week to welcome more female PhD students into its program. Last year, when department faculty looked at the candidate pool, they say they found fewer female candidates than they hoped, prompting a series of goals to achieve a gender balance in the department of both faculty and students by the year 2030. Last year, McCormick's PhD program was less than 30% female. The goals aim for 33% by next year, 40% by 2018, and a minimum of 45% female by 2020. Department members also hope to increase their female faculty ratio to the same proportion by 2030. Lincoln Lujan, Associate Chair of the Material Sciences and Engineering Department, says the goal not only is supporting women in engineering, but also promoting the importance of diversity and experience and perspective.
We want to be, leaders in all kinds of best practices, including incorporating, what we know about diversity and how it enhances the workplace.
According to Lujan, the department has already achieved the 2018 goal for this September. He says while the current plans only affect the Material Science and Engineering Department, he hopes the program will spread to other departments soon.
The city of Evanston announced last week that beginning this year, it will no longer recognize Columbus Day and will celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day instead. The holiday will become official later this year when Mayor Elizabeth Tisdall issues a formal proclamation, but no public facilities will close for the holiday. City officials worked with representatives from the Mitchell Museum of the American Indian to institute the holiday. Professor Lauren Giglione has spearheaded an effort at Northwestern to raise awareness of Native American culture and history, and says he is impressed with the recent change.
Christopher Columbus didn't discover the United States. Indeed, he never came to what is now the United States. So I think it's recognition of people who've been treated as invisible in this society for generations, and their importance.
The Mitchell Museum will hold special festivities throughout the rest of the year to honor the new holiday and will offer free admission to all visitors on the holiday itself.
After the break, we'll tell you about the cause that has Northwestern students happy to stay up all night.
At Northwestern, we're wildcats in every way.
Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Why hang around waiting for opportunity to knock when instead you can track opportunity down and knock on its door? You might ask, what's the best way to identify where opportunity lives? Here's a hint. Its door is colored purple. Northwestern University. Opportunity awaits your knock.
Why spend your entire life looking for some on-ramp to the road to opportunity when there's already a well-traveled path? So you may be wondering, what does that path look like? Is it paved with gold? Well, here's a hint. It's actually paved with purple. Northwestern University. Your road starts here.
Last Friday, Northwestern students pulled an all-nighter, but not for the reasons you might think. I went to the Norse University Center to find out more. The Northwestern chapter of Relay for Life raised approximately $92,430 in their 13th annual fundraiser benefiting the American Cancer Society. Participants gathered on the Norse East Lawn Friday evening to begin a 12-hour event that began at 6 p.m. and ended at 6 a.m. The event began with speeches by cancer survivors who shared their stories and talked about the impact the disease has had on their lives. The survivors and their caregivers then kicked off the relay portion of the night with a lap around the East Lawn, where they were cheered on by participants. Throughout the 12 hours, students walked, raised money, and stayed overnight despite the cold weather. For many participants, relay is more than a campout. It's a way to honor those in their lives who have lost their battles to and are still fighting cancer. Sophomore Joseph Gohar, mission leader of the Northwestern chapter, relays for his late grandmother, high school English teacher, and teammate.
People are all affected by cancer, and they just kind of don't realize how big of an impact it's made on this campus and the community. And I think once they realize that and what a difference Relay for Life and the American Cancer Society makes, they'll get more involved with it, they'll get more passionate about it.
While Joseph has been relaying since 9th grade, this is freshman Julia Phelan's first year. She relays for the brother she lost to cancer.
I think it's really important to be a part of something that's raising not only awareness for it, but also funding research that can help save lives. And that's why I'm okay with staying up for 12 hours in the cold.
About 590 students participated in this year's relay. Activities throughout the night included rounds of knockout with the Northwestern varsity men's basketball team, performances from campus-based dance groups, a hypnotist, and sunrise yoga.
That's not the only thing that had Northwestern students excited last weekend. Dave Glad of Dave's Italian Kitchen announced on Facebook that he will open a new restaurant after closing Dave's Italian Kitchen last month. The new restaurant will be located on Noy Street in the building previously occupied by Arlen's Chicken and DMK Burger and Fish. The name will be shortened to Dave's IK from Dave's Italian Kitchen to distinguish this venture from the previous one. Glatt says the new restaurant will be smaller in size, seating only about 40 people compared to the 200 people the old location was able to accommodate. Dave's IK will feature an abridged version of Dave's original menu, and Glatt says he plans to rehire most of his old staff. Despite these changes, School of Communications senior Maria Ayura hopes the new restaurant will have the same character.
What struck me most was how hard they like had worked to like really make it a welcoming atmosphere, and they had like a lot of like old Italian wine bottles along the wall in like a row, and they had like little fairy lights and maps of Italy, and it just really made me feel at home.
Dave's IK is set to open later this month.
Up next, Megan O'Brien will tell us all about how the Cats are doing in the world of sports.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Why hang around waiting for opportunity to knock when instead you can track opportunity down and knock on its door? You might ask, what's the best way to identify where opportunity lives? Here's a hint. Its door is colored purple. Northwestern University. Opportunity awaits your knock.
Why spend your entire life looking for some on-ramp to the road to opportunity when there's already a well-traveled path? So you may be wondering, what does that path look like? Is it paved with gold? Well, here's a hint. It's actually paved with purple. Northwestern University. Your road starts here.
Welcome back. We're joined now by NNN Sports' Megan O'Brien. Megan, thanks for joining us.
Guys, thanks for having me on desk.
So how are the Cats doing this week?
Well, you know, by the looks of the women's lacrosse team, they're doing pretty well. And there's an old saying in sports that it ain't over until the fat lady sings, and by the looks of it, the Northwestern women's lacrosse team can't seem to hear any singing as the team inched their way back to 500 last weekend, looking to make a late season push in the national rankings. Wildcats taking on Ohio State. Hadley Brook finds Shelby Fredericks. Cats lead 2-1 early. Next up, it's Kaylee Craig. And let me tell you guys, Kaylee Craig, the senior, had quite the day, puts the Cats up by 2. Later in the game, look at Craig racing down the field, showing off the speed, puts that one in the back of the net. Free position shot. Craig again sneaks it up there. Cats up by 10-7. And to start off the second half, guess who? Kaylee Craig again knocks it to the back of the net. Here's Selena Lesota, her 8th goal of the game to give the Cats a 21-13 lead. Be all Northwestern from there on out, and they improved to 8-8 on the season. Selena Lesota, as I mentioned, had a big day. She led all scorers with 8 goals, while Kaylee Craig had herself a day as well. She netted 4. Shelby Fredericks and Leighton Yaynor each had a hat trick. The lacrosse team kicks off Big Ten tournament play this week against Michigan. Last weekend, Chicago hosted the 2016 NFL Draft, and Chicago's Big Ten team was well represented. The Packers selected Northwestern defensive end Dean Lowry in the 4th round. Now, the lifelong Bears fan will find himself on the other end of the Bears-Packers rivalry. All fan favorites aside, Lowry looks forward to starting his NFL career in Green Bay.
It was a bit surreal, I haven't really talked to the Packers much in this process. So when they called, I was a bit surprised. But the Packers are a first-class organization, great team, relentless defense, and I just want to go there and learn from guys like Clay Matthews and Julius Peppers. So I think it's a great organization, and it's pretty close to home. So it's just a great fit overall.
So we're so excited.
They were just saying, we like your play. You're somebody who fits our defense in terms of the way you play with relentless, tenacity, and you're a high motor guy, and that's just what I've always prided myself on. So I think to play for a team like that is pretty cool. We're more Bears fans growing up, but now we're all Packers fans, and Rockford's pretty close to Green Bay, so there's quite a few Packer fans in this area. Great coaching staff up there, Coach McCarthy and the GM Thompson, and then actually their president of the Packers was a former AD at Northwestern, so nice connection there. But it's just a great team, so I'm excited. Just hard work. I think there's no secret to it. Just having that routine and just working hard in the weight room and staying humble and just having your eye on the next goal. And that's just what I've tried to live by the past 5 years, and it's really paying off. I always thought deep down I had a chance. I had the size, and I think just the athletic ability. I knew I'd hit the weight room and just keep working and learn from the older guys, and that's what I did for 4 years, and it just really paid off up until now.
Along with Lowry, Northwestern Superback Dan Vitale was selected in the NFL draft. Vitale will begin his professional football career with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Well, Eric, I know you were bummed and you didn't get drafted.
I know. I was waiting all Saturday to hear my name, but no luck.
What they say, there's always next year, Eric.
Absolutely.
Guys, thanks for having me on.
Of course.
When we come back, we'll tell you what has our club baseball team sliding into home.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Why hang around waiting for opportunity to knock when instead you can track opportunity down and knock on its door? You might ask, what's the best way to identify where opportunity lives? Here's a hint. Its door is colored purple. Northwestern University. Opportunity awaits your knock.
Why spend your entire life looking for some on-ramp to the road to opportunity when there's already a well-traveled path? So you may be wondering, what does that path look like? Is it paved with gold? Well, here's a hint. It's actually paved with purple. Northwestern University. Your road starts here.
Well, the weather wasn't great, but with the varsity team on the road, Northwestern's club baseball team was excited to open their first home series event ever at Rocky and Bernice Miller Park on Saturday. NNN's Ari Ross has more.
For the first time that co-captain Shane Mulhern can remember, Northwestern's club baseball team played a home series on campus.
I'm not sure the last time they did. They haven't since I've been on the team in the last 3 years.
Northwestern's club baseball team usually plays its home series about 30 minutes away in Northbrook, but sometimes they have to go even farther.
I mean, we've had home series in Milwaukee before because we couldn't book a field.
But with the athletic department upgrading the varsity field over the past 2 years, the club team finally got its chance to play at home.
You know, we're hoping to, with the new turf field, to get on it more. Since it's turf, it doesn't get messed up.
The turf field doesn't need as much maintenance, allowing the team to play its home series against the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire this weekend.
It was exciting, it was fun, being able to play out here and being able to invite friends to come watch.
Yeah, it was very cool. I mean, the weather wasn't great, but the field's nice. It's nice to kind of just be able to drive over for 5 minutes or guys walk up and play. And then we even got some fans, despite the rain, so that was good on them. It was nice to see that support.
For the seniors, it's their first home series, while for the freshmen, it hopefully ushers in a new era.
Hopefully, this starts something in the future where the club team gets to play a little more.
Because in baseball, everybody needs a little bit of home field advantage once in a while. Ari Ross, Northwestern News Report.
And that's all we have for you tonight. I'm Eric Miller.
I'm Megan O'Brien for sports.
And I'm Isabel Lawrence. Good night.